everybody. Today we are going to talk about the time of year that it is, December, and the practice of getting into a reflective moment and thinking about everything that was accomplished this year or all of the things that happened, and then preparing for the new year. This ritual for so many of us and has been for years and years. And has it stayed the same for you? Have you shifted it? Are there better and smarter ideas? Are the ways that we got taught to work with goals and accomplishment and things like that still the best way to navigate them now? Or have we all evolved? So let me throw it over to you, Kylie. If you were to think about throughout your life this type of practice, has it stayed the same? Has it been certain things that you traditionally always do? Do you still do those? Is it evolving? Tell me how that hits for you.
Okay, full disclosure, I am kind of bad at it. I always have been that person at the party where I'm like, oh gosh, okay, I gotta make up some goals or I gotta make up some, like it's not that I don't reflect and it's not that I can't get there, but I think it's always been really personal for me. And so I think quite naturally I've kind of tried to stay in the moment always, but when I see people doing vision boards and things like that, I was always a little bit fish out of water. I was always a little bit like, not that I didn't believe in it and not that I didn't buy that stuff is very useful and that for a lot of people that stuff really works. But I think I just think I maybe am too flighty. Like I'm just maybe a bit too like almost like go with the flow. A lot of the time I'm go with the flow, and so then I'd have to kind of dial in and go, okay, wow, I really do have to think about what it is I want to create, or I do have to think about where I'm going as opposed to just doing it or being it. So
Hmm.
for me, um, it has always felt like a bit of a challenge to really kind of sit and go, what did I accomplish? What have I done? And then where am I headed? And what does that look like? But not to say that I am not able to see what I've accomplished. I'm able to say, what a year, or look at what we've done. Sometimes I actually surprise myself when I stop for a minute and look. I kind of go,
Mm,
holy crow, that
mm.
that was this year, right? Or that all of that was this year. So, I mean, I just feel like life is so robust in the sense of what it is we get to do that it's becoming more important for me to sit and reflect and to sit and look and to actually celebrate the accomplishments and have a little bit of a moment of honoring of self, and it's not a brag and it's not a give me the award. It's more just to really be able to look at um, how fortunate we are to have the impact we have. And I can hardly even see the runway of how exciting it's going to get because I feel like there's been so much done and it's all been amazing and fun, and I honestly just feel like a really lucky person. So for me this year specifically, there's that energy going on where I'm just
Mm.
like I have to stop for a moment and remember and remind myself, like, look how amazing your life is. And again, not to say that it's not hard sometimes. Like everybody struggles, and I feel quite empathetic to those who really struggle, but it even makes me more grateful for the position that I get to sit in. So
Mm.
I do appreciate, as I'm getting older and older, I think I do appreciate this time of year and this reflective time of year. So that's my full disclosure on I'm bad at it, getting a bit better at it. So, and I know you're way better at it. So I want to know from you what what same question, like what's changing? Because I think like I can feel that it's true for everyone that there's change.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, it's so wild to hear that incredible story of your experience with this. And I love that because it's never surprising. So just how so different people's practices can be and what an impact, right? So I'm going to rewind and go back to I didn't even really understand what goals were And like, I mean, I kind of did, right, when you're in grade school and things like that, etc. But so I got thrust into this world of learning how to manage my performance up level when it comes to a level of initiative. I had to learn how to start to deal with my attitude like in hyperspeed, because I was living on my own. I was paying for university. I was not making enough money to continue to keeping myself in school with bartending and everything. So I took a sales job, and I was surrounded by people that were incessant about goal setting and systems and the value in being able to be very accountable with your time and to work with goals in a way where you actually commit to them, etc. And most of this stuff blew my mind. At the very beginning, I would say that I was a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of setting goals. Like, to me, it wasn't cool enough. And so I remember even hearing this being described by a previous mentor too. It was okay to have a vision. So I first learned how to start to have a vision for the future. And then that world was such an incredibly educational, fascinating forum of self-discovery and self-help introduction to what is possible when you start to study and learn things about your mind and the way that people connect and all of these things. But so part of that was at the end of every year, never mind that all through the year, it's at the end of every week, we review what happened that week and we set goals for the very next week. And then at the beginning of every day, we talk to our teams and it's what are the goals that we have for that day. And out we go. And the very next morning in the meeting, we examine the goals that we had set the previous day and did we hit them or did we not, and why. And we literally could break down performance like a science fair project in as much detail as writing a thesis. And so that has been such a huge part of the world that I lived in,
Mhm.
right? So every year at this time of year, it's a time for reflection and revisiting and going back to the documenting that was done the previous year on setting the targets, putting out what the expected challenges may be, what we were going to have to potentially address, right? Getting into that master and commander, being able to see a storm coming away from 3 months ahead so that you're prepared, and then to integrate that into this time of year. So to reflect and then to put together a new hit list and repeat and do it again. That said, and that I think has been an incredibly well-serving practice. And I deeply respect it.
Yep.
And I deeply respect it for the sales game and for new entrepreneurs that are starting out, and they have a massive amount of tasks. Like when you're building something and you're the only guy with a shovel behind the fence and there's nobody else paying attention, you got to dig. And you got to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And that's just part of it. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And then maybe as you get a little bit better at digging, you might find that you stumble across like a pitchfork. You might develop another tool to help
Tool,
you dig.
the
That's right.
garden of
And
tools.
dig and dig and dig. You
Mhm.
got it. But so to your point of now being a little bit older and have been through this experience so many times, and to now also have awareness into some additional components, which are things like, how did we feel during all of the work that we were doing? How are we feeling? Where are we spending most of our time feeling? Are we prioritizing the way that we want to feel? Are we giving prioritization to things that maybe when we were younger, we saw those as things that we needed to sacrifice for success? And in the sacrificing of those things, did we somehow train ourselves to not give them permission to be present and just as important, right? Like having fun, spending time doing the things that make you feel charged and lit up. And so we've been on these calls. We do these calls called Universal Wisdom with Kim Ebrig Jansen. She is unbelievably fabulous. And she has been talking to us about the evolution and what is happening and the shifting of time now and playing in the quantum, which is something I wouldn't even be able to say properly 6 months ago. And so her ideas have been really fascinating, really challenging to come from the mindset that I have had so locked down for close to 30 years, and to then take a step into allowing there to be a rejigging of the way that you go through this behavior. So it's been really fun to participate in and even to do some exercises and feel the result in real time, so much so that the tools may completely replace or eradicate some of the previous tools.
Yeah, and I'm like I find myself super attracted energetically to what she's talking about. I think I have been for a long time. Like I've read a lot of Joe Dispenza. I've Esther Perel. I'm really interested in. I am curious about all the stuff she's talking about. And you brought up a really interesting point that I think a lot of people would feel, which is when when you're looking at, especially in your sales company, in your past sort of corporate life, when you have a lot of people that are working for you or with you, there has to be so many processes in place, because if you were to just say everybody's got free reign to do what they feel like, you would be so clunky. So those team meetings every week, or the okay, let's have a status meeting and what's everyone done and what's everyone doing, that it keeps people sort of locked into this process driven way of working. And I think
Yep.
for the entrepreneur, what is super freeing is that, and again, there's varying degrees of whether you're good at this or not so strong at this, but you are sort of at the driver's seat all the time of of how you're working. And so what I love about Kim's messaging on the calls we've been on with her, and what I'm getting from it, and again, I'm not practiced yet, like I still have so much work to do to even practice the tools she gives us, but that permission to quiet, and then learn, observe, acquire, and then where do you go from there? And I've experimented with that, and some very interesting and profound things have happened when I've allowed space. And we aren't taught that. We're taught that if you have time to sit and meditate, you ain't working hard enough. You're not, you're not in the right zone, because that's not what we do. And actually what I see as the change is that we do need to fold into this quieter way of being and seeing and observing and understanding, and letting there be space for the things that serve us, that are coming if we listen. And
Mm.
that excites me to no end.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, one of the things that really struck me was that Kim was talking about that when you are such a thinker
Hmm.
and you spend your time, I'm going to do air quotes with, at the controls
Hmm.
of what you're designing, which again, go back to the beginning of a career, and the practice is still relevant at any level where you are looking to have thought and intent behind your execution. But her suggestion of giving yourself time when you step out of that, and even if it's simply a practice that you do for 10 minutes a day,
Mm.
and the practice that she was teaching us sounds ridiculously simple, and I don't know that I even allowed it to be ingested the first time I heard
Mm.
her talk
Yeah.
about it. And it's a process that she calls no thoughts. And so whether you're someone who knows how to meditate or not, I would say that the only thing that I've ever really done that was called a moving meditation was when I was doing hot yoga every morning. I don't know if that was so much of a meditation or freaking out really quietly in your head as it got super, super hard and you're raining on your mat, and then getting back into this really phenomenal, rewarding physical activity and exercise. But to sit down and simply tell yourself and tell your mind to be quiet and have no thoughts, and then to sit and to wait and see what feelings might suddenly show up, right? And so going through that experience was something that was really intriguing for me. I've now started to do it. I've now started to implement that
Mhm.
into my days whenever I find that I'm revving in fifth gear or sixth gear and I'm about to move on to the next thing on this incessantly long list of tasks to accomplish,
Yeah.
which is just fun and
Mhm.
part of building something. And I'll remind myself and I'll stop for a moment, and I almost feel like, ooh, is somebody watching me? Like I'm gonna stop for a moment and tell my mind to be quiet. And I almost feel like my mind's like, it's like, really? Like,
Like,
Come on.
where is
Like, we've
Michelle?
got things to do.
Where the aliens have taken Michelle? What have you done with her? What is going on? Yeah, it's disruptive
Oh,
to the pattern. Like, it's all
yeah.
patterns. It's
Yeah.
you're totally right, and, you know, we were again, you could trace everything that we do back to, you know, us being children. I mean,
Mm,
we were taught such at such a young age in this culture of ours to everything gets solved by your mind. Everything's solved by thinking and thinking and thinking and then rumination, you know. And I am an only child, but as a child, you know, I was imaginative. Everything was going on in my head because that was the
mm,
world that I learned to play in. And again,
mhm,
nothing wrong with that, but you know, the stillness of understanding that, like, our human existence is just one piece of the whole. There's just so many other layers. Like, the quantum fascinates me because I'm like, what? You know,
mm,
stuff she had us doing to play in the quantum. I didn't even get past go. Like, I need to keep doing that exercise because I was like, when she had us sitting in the chair and watching ourselves, I was like a drone. I was like all over
mm,
the place, and that reminded me that, yeah, I'm in my head a lot.
mm,
And I
mhm,
need to practice all the things that get me out. And there's many, many things that I already do that free me from that. But just being more mindful of those practices and making them practices, making them a priority in my days is exciting to me. I'm really looking forward to doing more of that.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Um, some of the things that come up for me too when it comes to this time of year and the traditional checklist, I would say, right? I think so many people are in the moment of time where this is almost like a global practice, right? It's a natural time to do an assessment and to look forward. And there's New Year's resolutions and all of these things that are mass marketed to us, but then they're really implemented and there are practical applications, of course, in your life and business and all those things. And it's responsible to do those things. But I think that we've got to be very conscious of what our checklist is that we are chasing. And so I think that there has been this really long checklist for everyone, but for women. And it's something with social media and the rise of having sight into other people's social feeds that can constantly send back measurement that is serving up qualifications of not enoughness
Mhm.
or not as good as,
Or if I
or
don't
there's this
do, this will happen, or this won't happen, or think people will think this of me, or like the load of it.
the load of it. And I mean, I think it starts at a young age. It certainly did for me. I know that that's partly because I moved out super early, but I don't know that it's that out of reach from other people where they're measuring all kinds of things. They're measuring their job or their business.
Mhm.
That all on itself for entrepreneurs can be the biggest, most overwhelming thing that they're doing a measurement of. And it's really important to take a look at what were our wins, what was our progress, right? Not just how far do we still have to go, but then even things like their people like measuring against, should I be entertaining this holiday season or do I not feel good enough about the way that my home looks? And that then adds to the list of not good enoughness. And then you put on top of that how you feel in your skin, how you feel about your body, the way that you feel about your looks, right? And when it comes to a world that is obsessed with filters and things like that, so
Obsessed.
that way, obsessed,
Obsessed, and that's
obsessed.
and you know, just to interject real quick, it makes me sad. Like, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I know it's true, but I'm sad because I'm like, when I've never gone to a holiday party and been like, "Oh my god, this person's home is."
No, never,
Never would it dawn on me,
never.
even if the home isn't like mine. I'm just happy to be around people. I'm happy to not be at my house because I don't want to clean up the mess. Like, so we put so much pressure on ideas that are not true, and we miss
Yeah.
life. We miss the fun. We miss the camaraderie. And like, nobody comes in and nobody comes in and goes, "Oh my God, you've got an extra 20 pounds on you. You're not good anymore." Like, no one
Mm,
gives a really, except
mm.
when they turn it on themselves. Sorry, I think I just said the wrong word for our.
That's okay. We'll get it bleeped out in the editor.
But like that, like it
This
makes
is this
I
is
feel sad. I feel sad when I know that people are like, I'm not good enough, so I'm not gonna do.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So at this time of year, I think it's a great time to have a consideration to put together different measurements. Like, I need to remember to take care of myself. I need to remember to prioritize happiness and to
Yes.
prioritize the way that I feel
Yeah.
and spend more time feeling that way. And then what will I be able to do that will allow me to spend more time feeling that way?
And paying
And
attention to
those
that.
become,
Like,
and
actually paying attention to that, because then you can say, "I don't need to do that because it makes me feel bad, and I this makes me feel so good, I'm gonna do more of that." Like, because that's what will start to happen.
yeah, 100%. And I learned this way of framing goals years ago, but I think it's still very relevant today, probably more so than at that time. And so many times goals are taught to us to be set as a destination, like a benchmark.
Mhm,
In some cases that serves, of course, when that's the correct measurement, fantastic. It's not the correct measurement every time.
mhm,
Right? So, to your point, let's say that somebody has a goal that they really do. They want to lose 25 pounds because the last time that they felt really good and really excited and were really social was 25 pounds ago.
mhm,
So, the process is to not set the goal that the target is the 25-pound, that measurement, because that means anytime that you're on your way to that yet, you still haven't achieved it yet. But instead to set process oriented goals that are to spend more time eating healthy, being active, investing in your fitness so that you feel more vibrant,
mhm.
doing one thing of self-care a week that's going to make you feel even better about yourself,
Oh, a
investing in
day,
the process. That's right.
a
So
day.
that way it's not the outcome that is the boss, but to set process oriented commitments as opposed to destination or benchmark
Correct.
oriented ones,
Yep,
right, which
correct.
allow you to celebrate every single tiny little bit of the win along the way.
Well, and can I even add to that, and again, looping, Kim back into this, there's so much pushing when we talk about, okay, I've got to lose 20 pounds and I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z until I do. Push, 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 grind, grind, grind. And I know for me, then I get kind of mad at my body. Like, why aren't, like, I'm eating healthy, I'm not drinking, I'm working out, and it's not happening to the rate I want it to happen. Push, 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 push. Versus, I love you. I see you. You are a body that carries me every day through this world, and then see what the response is from the body, and what the body starts to do. We are
Mhm.
constantly pushing against the grain. And I know for me, I started to do that with myself. Started to go, all right, I'm going to just treat this whole thing differently than, oh my gosh, lose the weight. And some interesting things have happened. It's not unlike the water molecule experiment of I love you, I hate you to the water molecule, and they actually watched what happened to that molecule. Our cells are no different. Our mind is communicating constantly with physically manifestation what we are. So if we're constantly mad at our bodies and upset that we're not good enough, the body responds. So I think
Mhm.
that the stuff Kim teaches has a play and a place in that conversation too, of how we push against ourselves to get to the goal, get to the milestone, do the thing. I think that there's some room for some of that as well there that could be very interesting for people to look at.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think it's really important that just at this time of year, as we go into the headspace that is seemingly a natural part of this process of saying goodbye to another trip around the calendar and living intentionally generally means setting intentions, setting expectations, setting goals, setting up possibilities for delivery, and to do so with a kinder eye
Mhm.
and to do so with an appreciation for the work that has gone in so far and how hard all of us do work, right? We work incessantly hard, I think, in large sweeping generalization. And so to give yourself a little bit of grace to be able to say, okay, you're doing all right, kid. And again, particularly right now, the world is in such an incredible state of growth and transition. And there are so many things that are uncertain with the development of AI and with technology becoming so rapid, and how that means that you need to pivot, and the way that businesses have been forced to pivot, and on the heels of the ways that businesses were forced to pivot because of the pandemic that occurred several years ago, that so many people have gone through really, really, really challenging sequences of years.
Yes.
And that to be able to have the reflection process and the getting ready to be set up for the possibilities that could come in next year, that could be so much more uplifting,
Hmm.
that could be moving towards, Kim calls, the new, and releasing some of the things that we've been maybe dragging. Maybe there are certain things that need to be laid to rest or to be let go of, and to make room and space for the better things that are next on our runway, that we don't have sight into necessarily, not unlike when you're driving up a mountain and it's a set of hilly hills and you can only see the next 20 feet before the hill disappears, and you got to just continue to keep driving, and the road is going to be there when you come over the
I
crest.
love
So
I love that, Michelle. And I actually don't think we have a choice. Like, I know for what I see, what I feel, what I'm doing, like, I will be seeking
mm,
lighter, joyous. I will be seeking that at all times because we need that, given how heavy the world is right now, that we need to go that direction. So I know that the world that I will function in, that will be a massive goal for 2026 for me.
yeah, love it. As always, I love our coffee conversations. And for anybody who hasn't checked it out yet, check out the Universal Wisdom episodes with Kim. Fascinating, fascinating. We've finished our last one for this year. She will be back in the new year, and we will be posting dates to that very, very soon. There's a link below, and you can join the collective where we have a bunch of content and special things for you for free. Have a fantastic holiday season, and we will see you very soon.
Thanks for listening.